It's time for the big show with Andy Gallo and Country Jim.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm Andy Gallo.
And I'm CJ.
And our guest today is Johnny Riley.
Yes.
Let it rain, let it fall, let it rain, Lord, a whole lot more when I get them deep river blues. Let rain go long, let it all just sweep along when I get them deep river blues.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I like that. Welcome to the podcast, man.
Well, thank you for having me.
You bet. Ease up on that mic there. There you go.
La, 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 la.
There you go. So how you doing?
I'm doing good, man.
Yeah, well, it's good
okay.
to meet you. Good to meet you.
y'all.
Had a chance to look at your performances on YouTube, and good, man.
Well,
Really,
I'm glad that you like some of them because I don't even know what's on YouTube.
no, it's some good stuff.
Oh, good,
some
good,
real
good.
good stuff. Yeah, absolutely. There.
Yeah.
I got the impression that you were more on that maybe that Hank Williams Jr.
Everybody says that.
ZZ Top-ish. That's what I told when I was watching some of it. I said kind of a ZZ Top sound in a way.
Yeah.
But then Jim says, well, no, he can do some country too.
Well,
So
I call my music gumbo music.
I got
Because
you.
You get a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and when you play like I play,
Right.
in some places, I've played big places, but I've also played restaurants, and they pay good. But sometimes the guy that's eating enchiladas and drinking a margarita, he wants you to play Hank Williams, so you play Hank Williams, and he tips you. So you're getting paid and you're getting tips. Can you do this? So I had to learn how to do a little bit of everything.
Right. Yeah.
But, who you are, a lot of that comes from who you were
Yes, sir.
and who your parents were.
Yep.
So, like I want to say, nearly everybody started out as a child. So, I'm pretty sure you did too.
Yes, sir, I did.
So speaking of that, where did you grow up at?
Originally, I was born in Kunz, Texas in 1966, and my mom and dad. My dad's originally from Markham, Texas. My mother's from Clarkston, Mississippi. We grew up on a sharecropper's farm. They moved down to Sour Lake, Texas, and that's where I started. But I grew up with different kinds of music because my mother was from Mississippi, so they had a lot of Delta blues, and then Dad's from Texas, a lot of Ernest Tubb, and somewhere in between, it's almost like Howlin' Wolf and Ernest Tubb got together and had a kid, and that was me. So that's kind of. So I was multicultural before it was cool. I listened to everything, and my dad was a holiness preacher, so I grew up and he sang. He preached a lot. I don't guess white folks let him preach in white churches because he preached in all the black churches, African American churches all over Louisiana, everywhere. So I grew up hearing that music, and so with a mixture of country and black gospel, all this is kind of where I got my sound. Is what I do, but I try to be able to have a melting pot of stuff where I can get and play.
How'd you get your first guitar?
I think the first one I ever had was an old beat up. It was one of those nylon string Willie Nelson type guitar. There was two of them, and I think my uncle had given it to me. And my first song I learned how to play raunchy. And my father, I found out when he was young, was a rogue. He was a wild man, but he got religion and got Jesus and got saved. And, of course, I was listening to Jerry Reed albums and Jimmy Reed and all this because that was mom stuff. And he'd go, Jerry Lee, that boy's going to end up playing in the beer joints. My God, he's going to go to hell. But I kept playing, and kept listening and playing him. Of course, my dad died back in 2014. He told me, he said, boy, ain't nothing wrong with what you're doing. Go play your music. Just remember who you are. I tell people I was raised Pentecost. That's why I'm a Baptist. Because
You converted.
well, yeah, I had to convert to Baptist because there's a reason that kids slept under the pews because when them sisters would go to dancing and hooping and hollering, they'd shake them hairpins out and it could blind the younger, you know what I'm saying? And the Baptists, they go to church at 11 o'clock and 12, we out. Pentecost, they liable to start at 7. And if you get Indians involved in it, like the Alabama Shot Indian Reservation, where Daddy would preach down there, they'll start at 7. They'd be people coming in at 9 o'clock at night. They have no sense of time, and they would just come in and they just have church, 12 o'clock at night and then eat afterwards. So it's just like, there's one thing I know about Pentecost people, they're going to eat and take up an offering.
Yeah.
and sometimes
Sound like a Baptist too, though. You know?
Really?
So yeah.
Well, I tell them I'm a shouting Baptist. I get happy and go amen or something like that. But I just it was a little bit different growing up. So I had a melting pot of all kind of music around me, and I wasn't too good at much nothing else. But I grew up playing. I'll tell you a story. My mother actually said that I had a Sears and Roebuck catalog with a picture of a old Fender red Mustang guitar in that, and I was little. I was about 3, and I would sit there and rub on it. And I said I was born to do what I do. And so in fact, when I was young, I wanted to be Flip Wilson, if you remember Flip.
Yeah, I do.
I thought Flip was cool, but I didn't know a little white boy from Texas could be. I was like, I want to be Flip Wilson when I grow up because I thought he was so awesome doing Geraldine and all that.
Oh, yeah.
So I just, if
And
there was a
the devil made me do it or something,
devil,
wasn't it?
yeah. Hey, honey. Yeah, I love that guy. And but when I was little, I wanted to be Flip Wilson. So I always had the entertainment. I guess I really was born with it. It's the only time I really think it's what I do. And I told Country Jimmy, I said, there's a difference between guys that can get out here and sing and play, but a lot of them don't know how to entertain. Mm-hmm. And that's the it factor for me, to be able to entertain an audience, to be able not just talk to them, but kind of connect with them.
Yeah, that's great.
Yep.
Yeah, you have to, or because I mean, right. Why would they want to come see my show? Why would they want to pay to come see it if I'm just
right? They'll stand up there and.
Well, I'm singing, I'm doing whatever, but I'm nothing special. Yeah. I'm like, Kiss wasn't even a good band, but they had great theatrics. Mm-hmm. I mean, I thought, Jerry Reed could play Ace Frehley under the table, but the deal is who didn't want to see this weird big Jewish guy like a devil blowing fire? And Christians were so ignorant, they would buy their records to burn them. I'm like, you think they care? You're buying their records, and then they would burn their records.
Don't matter.
I'm like, dude, that's awesome. Good publicity, bad publicity, still publicity. It's garbage. I'm like, dude, really? Oh, we bought their records. We're gonna have banned Kiss. I'm like, I bet they're upset.
Yeah.
So,
no,
it was entertainment. It was entertainment, and I noticed that, and I've tried to study the old guys. Like Country Jim here, and did you catch that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you did. Yeah,
you're an old guy now.
The old guys, I try to check. I call them the elders, and watch how they entertain people, because a lot of people in Nashville. I know who Lonzo and Oscar is, and Johnny and Jack, and all these guys, because I've studied that. But I watched what those guys did, because they actually traveled in. I say caravans, cars, trucks, wherever they could get to, and they would play in gyms, and they would put on an actual show for people to come.
Yep.
And if it wasn't entertaining, nobody was going to pay I think Bob Wills was charging $1.25 to get in for the dance. They weren't going to pay. Yeah. Undoubtedly, back when you were a kid, you'd get a Coke for a nickel.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? For a nickel. So $1.25.
Yeah.
When people weren't making $1 an hour sometimes, some places, that was big money back then.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Weirdest thing I knew about was when a Coke went from a nickel to 6 cents. I thought that's strange.
Man.
I think I could say it on this show. My great grandfather said when toilet paper went to a dime a roll, he would quit going to the restroom. That's not exactly what he said. He used some more vernacular. But he said, I will quit going to the bathroom when it comes 10 cents a roll, because that is just inflation through the roof, and it's horrible. I'm like, really? And he was serious,
That's a good one.
Well, of course, when I was a kid,
But
they
it's
didn't
true.
know what ADD was. It was just, y'all need to beat him. He needs a whooping.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of... My great-grandfather was named Tilford Edward McCluskey, T. McCluskey. He was born in 1895. He would take a paper sack and put some salt in it, and he'd tell me, because I'd stay with him, and he'd say, you see them birds out there? I said, yeah. He said, if you can get on and put salt on their tail, you can catch a bird. Well, dude, I would spend hours stalking birds out there, and he just give me something to do. He was smart, man. I look back at it now, because they didn't have like ADD. It wasn't like take time out and go refresh. It wasn't time out. It was knock you out.
Right.
And when you regain consciousness, you say, maybe I shouldn't do that anymore. So that's what happened to me when I was a kid. And so guitar and music's like my saving grace. I'm a disabled vet. I'm
Thanks for your service.
PTSD. I don't know if it was thank you for it. Would you do it again? I'm like, I'm not sure. I think so. I think I would. I think.
What branch of service were you?
Army.
Army.
Yeah, I wasn't tough enough to be a Marine. I was actually when I was all my family on one side was Marines, and I was going to the Marine Corps, but I was so nervous. I hate taking tests that I actually broke out in splotches when I come out. My wife goes, "What happened to you?" And I was like, "It looked like I had like an allergic reaction to the Marine Corps, literally." And so I joined the Army, and I went into the Army, and I never will forget. my grandmother, when I got out, she goes, "How was camp?" I'm like, "Excuse me?" Because I don't know what they do now, but I thought my name was a lot of curse words for the first month I was there. That's a nice way to put it. You're teaching me how to talk without being...
Right. Colorful.
Colorful, yeah. I was extremely colorful, and it wasn't... I don't know what they're doing now. They weren't concerned about my pronouns when I went to the military at all.
So did you go overseas? Were you in
Yes,
war
sir.
zone?
I went over. I went to work for the multinational. Well, I didn't do it; they did it. But I wanted to go to Fort Polk, Louisiana, because I'm like, hey, let's go to Louisiana. No, they sent me to Anchorage, Alaska. Oh, and 50 below zero, totally different world. I got invited to a barbecue up there one time. I showed them they had hot dog and hamburgers. Well, I'm from Texas. I'm like, when y'all gonna barbecue? And they go, this is a barbecue. I'm like, you Yankees really got a lot to learn. But no, they sent me there, and then when I finally got used to that, they sent us on a peacekeeping mission for the multinational force and observers. And while I was over there, Desert Storm was brewing and kicking off, and instead of doing 6 months, I think I did another 6 months or something like that, 8 months a year altogether. And so when I come home, my kids didn't know who I was, because I wasn't there. And this was back when they wrote letters. I think we got the phone call when they did it back then was a satellite phone call, and when you talk to your loved ones, you have to say hello, over, like that. So you would talk back and forth. So I did the whole letter thing,
Did you play music in the service?
Yes, I did. I always played. I always had a guitar in my hand. But the chaplain over there, and I always said if I'm ever going to do anything, if I ever go back to service, I want to be a chaplain's assistant because those guys got all the good food and all the good stuff, and they didn't have to do anything. So, but the chaplain's assistant got me a guitar. And while I was over there, the USO show come in, and I got to get up on stage and play. And I did, and they liked it, and I think they took some money up or whatever. But I basically got there and sang for a bunch of drunk GIs is what happened. But yeah, I played some music and wrote some songs and did some things like that.
In Anchorage, I had a couple of friends that were musicians in Anchorage. Keith Juno, left-handed fiddle player, he's recently was on here. Kenny Snow.
I played the Pines Club a lot in Anchorage, Alaska. Yeah, Pines. I don't even know if it's still there anymore, but. There was not a lot to do in Alaska. It snows. It's a lot of drinking, lots and lots of drinking, and there was really nothing to do. It's 8 months. It's winter,
right?
So
nothing to do but drink.
Well, I don't drink now,
right?
And people say, "Well, did you have a drinking problem?" I'm like, "No, I love drinking. I think everybody else had a problem when I was drinking, but I enjoyed it thoroughly."
Yeah.
But I don't do it anymore. But I kind of got burnt myself out on it a little bit. But I think as you get older, you realize
there's better things to do.
There's better things to do for me, definitely, because music's been my therapy, my saving grace. So that's what I like doing. Music. I love entertainment. I like entertaining the audience, and my ultimate goal is I would love to be able to play shows in Branson. Love to play the Opry, but when I was growing up, if you played the Opry, you had made it. If you died right then, it would never get any better. Right. Like Loretta Lynn said, when you play the Opry, you play it stage once. It's just like, dude, you are at the top of your game. So
you would fit in at Branson for sure because the entertainment up there, believe it or not, I mean, there's a lot of no-name people up there, and they're really, really good. And you're going, they may be playing at the so-and-so theater, whatever.
Well, the deal is when you play places like I play, because I've literally played holes. I played places where you carry a pistol in. And you got a pistol on you when you're playing. You keep it on you because you don't know what's going to happen. So I play those places, and I prefer big, nice places, And I've played places like real juke joints and real places. It's good fun to talk about that,
right?
But I've actually played, in places.
You don't want to play behind the chicken wire.
I played just like Jerry Lee. I played those kind of places. My deal is I want an audience. It's if you play a casino, unless you're playing the main room, you're playing the machines. And your background music.
Yeah.
And they're going to pay you $300 for a couple hours. What are you going to do? You get in there and do your thing. And you'll get people that come by and say, hey, man, it sounds really great. But the people that own the casino, they want you to keep those people on those machines. Their job is to spend money, not to sit there and clap for you. Unless you're doing a main room and they're drawing, they do it on the casinos. But my main deal is I like a good 90-minute, 2-hour show that's actually like the old timers did. It's a variety of stuff. And so that's what I try to put in my show. is a variety of different things and different music to take people back to a simpler time, a better time. Because this world is nuts. I mean, they're worried about.
Yeah.
I mean, no offense, but nobody was worried. I don't care what your pronouns are. I've got to pay the light bill. So,
Right.
I mean, it's just if there's ever a time we need to laugh and have a good time, maybe entertainment. That's what I want to do. You know, Branson though is like that would be awesome.
Yep.
People are
Oh,
there
yeah.
to hear
Yeah.
to hear the entertainment.
Yeah, that's
Right.
what I was
Oh,
going to say.
yeah.
They're there to hear you. They're not worried about eating enchiladas, and
No.
drinking margaritas, and
No.
go, "Can you play Hank Jr.?"
Right.
But yeah, I can. How much money do you have?
Right. Right.
I do a stick. I always do this. I tell people, "Hey, I want to tell you a story about this really happened to me. I was playing a bull bash or something, and this drunk cowboy, and I always say, anybody ever seen a drunk cowboy? And they go, we do, because there's drunk cowboys. Has anybody been a drunk cowboy? We're drunk
Everybody,
cowboys.
yeah.
Okay, and I said, well, he come up and he looks at me, and he says, hey, Biggin, I tell you what, said you play Brick in the Wall by Pink Floyd, I'll give you $100 bill. And I thought, he's fixing me pissed, because I went, we don't need no education. Anyway, I did the whole song, and it blew his mind, and he had to put the $100 bill in there, and he did. And I thought, when he wakes up tomorrow, he's going to realize don't profile people, because he looked at me thinking he's going to hear. You were traumatized by the Burt Reynolds movie. You remember?
I do remember.
Yes,
I do
Deliverance,
remember.
when
Yeah.
Ned Beatty was jumping around. Out. Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So that happened. They think. So I tell people on my tip jar, I'm like, hey, he did that. Don't ever profile people. You never know who you're talking to. Whether you're the richest man in the world or the poorest man in the ditch, we all end up in a hole. So it pays to be nice. And I say anything that you donate to the tip bucket tonight goes to a great organization that I fully support called Feed the Children. Feed my children, feed my grandchildren.
There you go.
And any other
There you
kids that
go.
come by my
That's
house. And I always do that during my deal. And I've just developed it over the years. I developed what they call an act. But seeing me in the overalls, I really do dress like this.
Well, that's another. I was going to ask you about that. Okay, you got the overalls on. You got your hat on.
That's a nice Stetson.
Well, I was about to say it looks like a pretty. Yeah.
Yeah, Mama
Now-
got that for me a couple of years ago.
Now, is this something that is this part of the act? That's what I like
Yeah,
to.
the deal is I've got suits with the rhinestones on them, and I dig them. I think it's cool, but when I come out in it, I kind of look like a big disco ball. And it's kind of funny, but I say that. I got to play the Midnight Jamboree. I played the Midnight Jamboree, Ernie Stubbs' Midnight Jamboree. I got to play with Leon Rhodes.
Oh wow!
Well, when I come out, honey, I look like a hillbilly pimp. I come out and Glenn Tubb was on there, and he introduced me. And I said, I did an old stick. I said, can y'all see me all right? Of course, at the time, I'm 302 now, but at the time I was 350 pounds and had a bright blue rhinestone suit on, looked like I was going to church in Atlanta at Easter time. You hear me? Like a big egg. And I come out and I did my thing, and I did that. And then I thought, well, everybody does that. And I thought, well, who am I really as an artist? So when you see me with the I don't know what kind of these old shoes on right here. My mother said, you should have been born in the other century. I got the old high top dress shoes, and this really is who I am. So I thought, there's got to be an audience that will come to see me. Mm-hmm. And so I come in my overalls. I told my wife, I said, I think I need to go get me some overalls. I had some doodads put on. Every once in a while I wear a tie for real.
Right.
And I made an owner laugh one time. I showed up, had my overalls, had my tie on. And he said, you got a tie with overalls? I said, well, I figure if you play a fancy crawfish place like this, fella ought to get dressed up. And so that humor and that stuff that is me, I said, there's got to be somebody that's willing to pay a ticket to come see it.
Okay, now
Did you ever meet Boxcar Willie?
that's what I was going
No,
to say.
but I think about him. I love boxcars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
I never met
that's
him.
what we were getting at. Every time I seen Box a couple of times live, way back there at Johnny High's Country Music Review. Remember that?
That's where
back and forth with
that's
Texas.
where I saw it.
Okay, that's it. So I got to go backstage.
Was that you on the? Oh, never.
That
mind.
was me playing back up there. I was doing my little whistle. That was
awesome.
That was my whistle there. But anyway, well, we did a train show not long ago, so we had to bring that on there. He was doing train songs.
Yeah.
So, But every time I saw him, he always had his hat, and he had the pins, the hat pins all over him, and he had the overalls on.
Well,
so that's why I was kind of getting
finding
it.
out who I was as an artist. I've done I used to. Somebody said they asked me one time, "Do you dye your beard?" I'm like, "Yeah, if I don't, I look like Santa Claus. It's white." So, but I always wore I dyed the black, and I did the rhinestones, and I can play the blues, rock, and all that stuff. But I thought, who am I as an artist, and what do I want to do? I've got some ideas I want to do, and I thought, well, just be yourself. There's got to be an audience that'll pay to see you, because believe me, I've had people say, this guy dresses ridiculous. I'm like, yeah, but you remember who I am. Mm-hmm. I loved Jimmy Dickens. I love Porter Wagoner Wheel. I'm like, dude, rhinestones on the heels, that is awesome. Mm-hmm. I love all that stuff.
Yep.
They knew the show was coming to town. I want to be a part of a show like that, but when I come out, I want to be I would rather have guys that learn to play in a band be dressed to the nines behind me and me come out like this, like Boxcar did. Right. Just because it puts you down it sets you different. Marty Stewart, I saw him one time. He was in all black. His band was in all white suits. They had white drums, white guitars, everything matched, and he was the black, and it stood him out. Mm-hmm. And I went, that's smart. So, this is basically who I've decided to be me, and I said, if they're going to keep... Well, I'm learning this business. They go, it's okay, you're the executive producer. I'm like, that means that I pay for everything. I don't have any input. I just pay everybody.
That's right.
And I'm like, if I'm going to do that, why not own my own label? Why not have our own publishing company? Me and Barry have our own publishing company. Why not do that and promote me?
Hey, I was just knocking.
What was that supposed to be there? Attention
knocking.
getter?
I was knocking. Yeah.
Oh, knocking. Okay, go ahead.
So talk a little bit about...
I don't know.
Talk a little bit about the area of, in the past, having been a sideman in somebody else's deal, and talk about then being the front man, having your own band. And then I know now you do a lot, maybe almost exclusively, of one-man.
Well, there's a reason I do one-man things, but when I started out, I grew up playing in church, and I never had no music lessons. I just played. All my uncles played, and they would showed me like 2 or 3 chords, and then I found out, hey, if you get good, of course, my daddy said if you sold your soul to the devil, then you're going to make money for the world. You out there playing them, just sold your talent to the devil, and I'd be like, I was a kid going, what if I was a plumber? Could I do the plumbing in a bar, or would I go to hell for doing the plumbing in the bar? And he would get really upset because they didn't put us in the corner. Mm-hmm. I woke up in the corner. So, back in those days. So, I was a kid. So... I remember I went on my first road trip. I was 12 years old, and I was playing bass. And they had got together one Christmas and got me. I had a PVT-40 sunburst-colored bass guitar and an amp, and it was bigger than I was, and I thought I was cool. And I went and played Southern Gospel music with a group called the PKs, a.k.a. the Preacher's Kids. And we were on a school bus in San Antonio, Texas. We played, I think I got $75 for the entire weekend, which... Dude, I was happy. I worked all day in a hayfield for $20, and that ain't no lie. So I mean, I was in hog heaven. But I remember Buddy Lowe was a guitar player, and I played or whatever. And I think they coaxed me into pouring ice down the bus driver's back or something. But he was the piano player, so that didn't go over too big. But I mean, I learned really about being a sideman. My job is not to be the front. My job, if I'm playing sideman, I'm playing the music. I have nothing to do with the show part of it. They do all that. Mm-hmm. And a lot of side guys, they want to be stars or whatever, and they don't know their place. And I'm like, whoever you're playing, I know musicians have got mad. Well, I don't like this music. I'm like, well, are you getting paid? Well, yeah. Well, it doesn't matter if I want to play Little Bo Peep or I'm a little teapot short and stout, play the music. It has nothing to do with if you like it or don't like it.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
And so I started playing, but with bands and stuff, I started doing the front guy because I wanted the attention. I love making people laugh. Mm-hmm. And I found out if you can do it without, like, I try in my shows, I want a kid to be able to come, listen to the show and go, dude, that's awesome. I want to do that when I grow up. Because it's harder to do what I call comedy. Yeah. And not use colorful, bad vernacular. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can do it. I know how to do it. Believe me, I know how to do all that. But everybody does that. But if you can come in and actually do the humor like Clower did and Archie Campbell, like you mentioned him a while ago, those kind of guys, that's genius stuff. You know?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Now,
I love Red Skillet.
Okay, you definitely write a lot of your own music. And of course, you're definitely a funny guy. I mean, you've got an entertainment type of thing going on here. So any of the songs that you've written, are they, or could some of them be considered comedic, or maybe
well, no, I've done some comedian songs. I heard I'm trying to think of the guys, a banjo picker, like I do a song about a dog, and then I heard Aaron Wilburn do a song about the Chinese food. I don't know if you ever heard that. He does a bit, and I do the same bit. Comedians, I don't call myself a comedian, but if you say comedians never stole a line, don't lie. They all steal lines.
Right, yeah.
But especially if they're good.
I have a quote.
Go ahead.
It's a definition of the word originality.
What it is.
Originality is the ability to forget where you got it.
There you go.
That is good.
I like that.
I have done some comedian songs, but I haven't written any.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was wanting to know.
Any comedian songs. I write songs. I've got a song on one of the albums that I give him called "Ain't That a Shame," and it was actually a true song, and it's kind of bluesy. They would call it outlaw country now. What they would call outlaw. And one of the lines in it says, "From the time I can remember, I always felt alone. My daddy was a saint at the church house and a devil when he got home. Ain't that a shame?" And then it goes on, so it tells the story. And at the end of it, it goes, "You can have your worldly pleasures, you can have all the silver and all the gold, but it don't matter in the end, my friend. We all end up in a hole." And so you say, so I've learned to try to just say little things where people go, especially if you get guys that listen to lyrics. Because I'm not one of those who goes, "Oh, I like the beat." I'm like, I like to listen to what they're saying.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, George Jones had a song back in the 50s called "Blue Must Be the Color of the Blues."
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good
Remember that song?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Dude. I was like, "Are you hearing? Blue must be the color angels choose." And I'm just like, who wrote this? Like, I love Tom T. Hall and those guys.
And Country Jim calls that somebody that's a wordsmith.
Is that what it is?
That can write a song that you just, you go, man.
On Sling Blade, they did that. Remember, he said, I'm a wordsmith.
Yeah,
it was
that's
right in the Piggly Wiggly parking lot. And,
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
You must have stole that from that movie, then, didn't you? Damn it! You didn't tell me that. I'm gonna write that down.
Don't point that at me. It's got a nail in it.
Oh, no, it's a pen. Oh, you talking about that?
We sitting down, we wrote this song in the Piggly Wiggly parking lot. I was like, oh my God! I laughed through that whole movie. But Sling Blade.
Did you ever learn Jones's? It's autobiographical. His song choices. I've had choices since the day that I was born.
Yeah,
there were voices that taught me right from wrong. If I had listened, I wouldn't be here today, living and dying with the choices.
I don't know who wrote that, but it's awesome. I like songs like that. Like he was talking about the ballads. There's, I do that one. Jerry Lee was one of my favorite country singers because he wasn't. They call it traditional country now, but pre-World War II. Hillbilly music, what we would call bluegrass, was what they call country music till after World War II. Then the steel guitar, because of course, I think they say Northerners. When I was a kid, they called them Yankees, but now they say Northerners. Those guys got together and put their stuff, and then they come up with this new brand. Because Hank Sr., if you look at that guy, he grew up with a black street musician named T-Tot, and T-Tot, he would listen. But if you listen to it. Came in last night about 10:30. That baby mine wouldn't let me in. That's blues lyrics, and there's how you write blues songs, but then you put hillbilly music to it. So it's like, what I want to do is put a different flavor to something that takes people back to a simpler time, and it's good. But they're there to listen. They want to be entertained rather than. I hate playing beer drums. It's like, okay, you're gonna play somebody. Can you play the chair? Yes, for the 1,000th time. It's kind of like, can you play Sweet Home Alabama? I was like. Can I go ahead and just put a gun in my mouth now? Right.
Get lead poisoning. Hey, speaking of which, can you play us something? Original.
Yeah. You want an original?
Yeah. Something. I heard a song that you did, and it's a little rocky, but it's something about Crossroads. Can you do that? Yeah. There you go.
Standing down at the crossroads. Crossroads of my life, but I lost everything I had, lost my children and my wife. Oh, standing at the crossroads of my life. This ain't country, so.
I know, but it's good.
Well, I lost everything now, my children and my wife. Mama told me not to smoke it, but I did it anyway. She told me not to play the blues, standing here this way. me, boy, now that only the good die young. They say I made a deal with the devil, Lord, you know I don't have my farm. People told me, cause I let the good die young. Well, made my deal with the devil, you know I don't have my farm. That preacher man told me, boy, there's a fire down below. They got hellhounds coming after me, and they're trying to take Johnny's soul. The preacher man told me, boy, there's a fire down here. Hellhounds coming after me, trying to take my soul. Standing at the crossroads, standing at the crossroads. That's one.
That's good. Oh, now can you do the chair now?
Yeah.
No, just joking.
Actually, I wrote a new song. That's Crossroads. That's so weird because this whole business, I'm the more I found out about the business part of it, the more I don't like it. I opened up for David Ball back in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
At a place called Whistle Stop Cafe. And I got the job because Tommy Mauser for Strike TV, and I'm going to mention Tommy and Angela's name, let me come open up for him. Well, I met him, and David was real nice to me. And I met his guitar player, Troy Cook Jr., who has got a song that I hadn't heard in years. If you ever find, it's called Haggardsville that he wrote, going down to Haggardsville. And it was a great song. Well, David, I actually got to go up and record in Troy's studio, and we went to David's house one day. Well, I thought, man, I'm going to David Ball's house. This is awesome. Well, David really is his country. It's not an act.
Oh no, he is country.
No, he's extremely country. And I went to his house, and he had a dog and his wife, and I think he only has one daughter. And she's pretty, but it's kind of like him in a dress. You know what I'm saying? She looks like her daddy, and it's kind of weird.
That's kind of scary nowadays.
It is. It's like
because it happens. It happens.
I think Country Jim's daughter, Leslie, I think she's gorgeous. But every once in a while, I see his eyes, and it kind of creeps me out. He goes, "You can buy." I said, "What do you mean buy?" Well, they got publicity companies that you give them $150,000 and they'll put you out there, and all of a sudden you'll be an overnight, you'll be on the red carpet, you'll be in Rolling Stone magazine. And I thought, in my mind, it was about talent. And if you had really good talent, somebody would hear you and they would sign you, and then you'd be on your way. Well, it's not like that. Yeah. And I said, "You're telling me?" He goes, "I'm telling you." I said, "Is it about talent?" He goes, "Not a lot. But if you can sing decent or whatever," he said, "I'm telling you, with the right people behind you." And this was back before the internet and all this was as big as it is. Back when MySpace was out or whatever. I said, "Are you serious?"
I had one of those.
Yeah, I'm like, and he was telling me about it. And so I started studying the business side of things, and I'm finding out, yeah, if you have enough money, you can hire people, and all of a sudden you'll have 500,000 followers. They'll get you. That's what they do. They made a market for it, and they'll get you your followers, and all of a sudden the record companies go, "Oh, wow, they have 5," because it's not about talent, it's about moving product.
Right.
And when I found that out, I wanted to go back to the old Roy Acuff. I saw a documentary with him when I was young, and he was on the old medicine shows, and they would go from town to town. It was like a circus with bluegrass and country, and they would have maybe the lady that would sing the suggested song, the Snake Lady, and she would do it. But this was back before there was no TV and wasn't a lot of radio, so these folks didn't see a lot of this. So when this show come to town, they go, "Man, we got to go see this." So they'd pay 50 cents or whatever, or they would sell this at the end. They would sell their little bottles of medicine, and I said it went from being about talent and really entertaining people to it's all about making money. It's all about the almighty dollar. It's not about whatever sells. It doesn't make any difference. Just like Murder on Music Row when Straight come out, it made everybody mad. I'm like, well, it's God's truth. They gutted it from what happened to it. So because you can't tell me George, when they say tell George Jones go home, he's too country. Are you serious?
Yeah, I know.
I mean, really, George? I mean, George. I think it was a God-given talent with him because he literally could turn a phrase.
Yeah.
And like rip your heart out and go, it was just like
Yeah.
Jones could do that. Well, when I found out that, it kind of bothered me. And I said, well, look at me. I'm not going to make little girls jump up and scream and holler like Elvis did because I'll be honest with you. I mean,
you never know. You might swivel your hips a little bit.
I'll be honest with you. Can I tell a road story?
Go ahead. I love those.
I was playing a casino one night. Anyway, that's what I didn't like. I don't like about the business. I have like the 80. I kind of go around, but that's I was in a casino one night now, and there was a lady that was totally inebriated. I was dressed like the hillbilly pimp, and I'm up there with an electric guitar, and I'm sitting down, and we were playing, and I'm going, and she is trying to be alluring, there's a good word, and colorful. So they have a birthday party going on, and she has a chocolate-covered strawberry, and she is dancing. Now, we're on a big stage like this. There's a bar down here, and she's looking at me, and she's doing this, and she's doing this. Well, I actually had a pair of prescription sunshades on because I can't see. I'm blind. And so I'm sitting there looking, and the bass girl goes, "What in the world is she doing?" He goes, "I think she's looking at you." I said, "Lord have mercy." So we played anyway. Well, she comes up, so I say it, and she's trying to be alluring, so she starts eating that strawberry. Okay? And in front of the stage, I'm sitting there playing. I'm like, I'm just kind of looking. So she comes up to me, and back when I was a kid, if a woman was married and was going to have a child, they said she was in the family way. Yeah. Well, she wanted to be in the family way, I guess. She was trying to be alluring and colorful and basically propositioned me. And I said, and of course she got mad and yelled at me, but I said, "Lady, I'll be honest with you. If you drank enough liquor to find me remotely attractive, you have a drinking problem." And I said, "Really, it's really like a bad decision because I'm telling you." And I've been with my wife for 41 years. It'd be 30. We dated for 5 years. 36 years, December the 6th coming up, and I was like, she said that, it was like, "You think, is it rock and roll and women?" I'm like, maybe when I was younger, it's more like Candy Crush and ibuprofen in a shower in a hotel room, and me FaceTime going, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm wore out," and I told my wife, I don't do cocaine, but I understand why they did back in the 70s, because if you drive 20 hours somewhere and you have to do an interview going, "Hi," and you're like, it's not going to happen. You're dead. Yeah. So it's like, "Hey, I'm Mr. Star," so it doesn't work like that. Yeah. But that was my roadster, and I basically told her if she found it, she really had a bad drinking problem. I mean, her beer goggles were gone at this point. She was finding me quite sexy and alluring, and I'm like, "Are you serious? Really?"
Johnny?
Yes, sir.
This has been absolutely fascinating.
It is.
I
don't think we've asked 3 questions, though, have we?
Hold on, I'm gonna hush now.
No. I want you to do like a country song that you wrote before we have to go.
Okay, now I've got two. Do you want me to do the new one I wrote? That.
That sounds good.
Here's a bottle on the table, got the blues hanging around the door. Got a note I've had forever, said you don't love me anymore. And it finally getting through to me since I heard the news. It's been 25 years and I've still got the blues. It's been 25 years and I still got the blues. Oh, 25 years long, my nights are a living hell. Got a bottle for my companion and a bar room for sale. Well, I don't know all the answers, I can't tell what I might do. But it's been 25 years and I've still got the blues. It's been 25 years and I still got the blues. Fancy picking time. Woo. Well, now I'm sitting here in my easy chair. The rain pouring down and you're not here. I look at your picture hanging in my hall. I call out your name, you don't answer at all. I don't know all the answers, I can't tell what I might do. But it's been 25 years and I've still got the blues. It's been 25 years and I still got the blues.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That is good. Hey, and you know what? You're definitely you're a guitar picker to my heart because you use C, G, and D. It looks like as I was watching you fingering there, so on that, and that's what I do. That's all I can do is 3 chords. So
Well, Glenn Tubb told a story. He told me a story. He was in the hotel room with Hank Williams Sr. and Hank's mama, and she was a character, and he actually was playing the guitar, and he said Hank was his hero, and he was doing everything he could on that guitar. And Hank told him, said you don't need G, C, and D, and if you ain't got to use D, just hang on to that number 1 for a while. I mean, he just really wasn't. There
was a whole lot of C and G and Hank Williams.
Well, I could play different things, but I just that song actually come to me in my head. I'm like, those are blues lyrics, and then but when I come, it's like, why am I like channeling Jerry Jeff Walker music? That because it wasn't supposed to be like that. It just come out like that.
It's good. It's good stuff.
I didn't play the song I wanted to play for you. But it's
play us a verse of what you wanted to play, or a chorus, whatever you want to do there. Just whatever you wanted to, just a short version of it. That sounds good.
My daddy was a con man and a preacher. He preached the Bible through and through. He had a problem with them good-looking women eyes, preaching days are through. I ain't that a shame? Lord, ain't that a shame? Ain't that a shame? Lord, but that's the blues. Well, from the time, Lord, I can remember, I always felt alone. My daddy was a saint at the church house, and the devil when he got home. Ain't that a shame? Lord, ain't that a shame? Ain't that a shame? Lord, but that's the blues. Well, one time he put me down in the corner. Lord, my little head was sore. My mama hit him in the back of the head with a rifle and laid him out on that floor. Ain't that a shame? Lord, ain't that a shame? Ain't that a shame? Lord, but that's the blues. Last verse. Well, you can have all the worldly pleasures, all the silver and all the gold. You know it won't matter in the end, my friend. We'll all end up in a hole, and ain't that true? Lord, ain't that a shame? Ain't that a shame? But that's the blues.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's
good.
My brother heard that. He was living in Louisiana and heard that song. Goes, my God, that was the truth. I'm like, that is one of those true songs.
Yeah. That is good stuff.
Well, the next time
tell
that we
you.
have you on here,
Yeah, we're going. It's definitely going to be a next time.
And child abuse.
Yeah. Threw him off a little bit there. Well, Johnny Riley, man, we do appreciate
Well, I
you being with us.
apologize. You guys didn't get to answer questions. I've done interviews, but they say, "Hey, talk," and I'm like, "Okie dokie." So.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
We got all the information we needed. Believe me, we got everything we needed. But we're going to have you back for another round because we got to do that, you know. So, what you got anything else you want to add?
nope.
Okay. Well, we are done. Appreciate it, man. Thank you so very much. Play us out. There you go. Hey, we'll see you folks on another one.
Adios.
Thanks for listening to The Big Show with Andy Gallo and Country Jim.
This has been a Unicap Media presentation.